Shalom Akim, we give all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakwakadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, peace and shalom to the elect, pushing out this word throughout the four corners of the globe, Ba'Shem Rakwakadash, in the Holy Spirit, for the edification of the house of Dawadah. This your brother Shema Moth. Just wanted to bring out a little history. Be patient. History is a long lesson. However, it's essential that you understand why we in the condition that we're in, and where it come from and where it stemmed from. It stems from what happened to us beforehand. Things, lead up to why we're in a certain condition. And this is a little history about the nation of Israel, as they were Hellenized. And the Hellenization of the Israelites was when Greekish fashions came into our borders, and men of Israel took on those fashions. Some. And there were some who rejected these fashions and fled away. This is where you get to the Diaspora, where some Israel fled into other countries, other dominions, away from the city of Jerusalem because of what was going on in Jerusalem. And we know that the height of it was Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes the Fourth, when he brought in his wicked rule and set up his Hellenization of the Jews, the destruction of the temple, and what happened to our people. Because when we surrounded around with wickedness, we either have to flee or you have to bow down to it. These nations were put against us because of our wickedness, going against the scriptures, going against our Heavenly Father, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. And just wanted to get a little history and a refuge city. And I'm going to speak about that a little later. However, let's get into it. This is First Chronicles. First Chronicles 6 and 54. I'm going to start at 54. It says, "Now these are the dwelling places throughout their castles in the coasts of the sons of Aaron of the families of the Kohathites. For theirs was the lot, and they gave them Hebron in the land of Judah and the suburbs thereof round about it. But the fields of the city and the village thereof they gave to Caleb and the sons of Jephunneh, and the sons of Aaron they gave the cities of Judah, namely Hebron, the city of refuge, and Libnah with her suburbs, and Jattir, and Eshtemoa with their suburbs." So when you keep reading down, you understand that the Levites were set up in their lot throughout the 12 tribes cities, a city in the suburbs. And this is where the tribe of Levi set up their homes in the suburbs. And the tribes, and when you go through all the tribes, you see that the suburbs of those cities, of those tribes within these cities, they had a refuge for the Levites. So the Levites was always separate from, but also among. Separate from, but also among the 12 tribes. So when you read, 65, it says, "And they gave by lot out of the tribe of Judah, out of the children of Judah, and out of the tribe of children of Simeon, and out of the tribe of children of Benjamin, these cities which are called by their names. And the residue of the families of the sons of Kohath had cities of their coasts out of the tribe of Ephraim." So, like I said, every tribe had a suburb for the Levites. Now, pushing forward to the time of the Greeks coming into our cities and disturbing our peace, you had a man uh, named Epiphanes. I spoke about that before. And Caius Epiphanes the fourth. This is from First Maccabees 1 and start at 16. Now when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, and he might have dominion of 2 realms. Wherefore he entered into Egypt with multitude, with chariots and elephants, and horsemen and a great navy. He made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt, but Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded to death. Thus they got the strong cities of the land of Egypt, and he took the spoils thereof. Now remember, Antiochus was from Syria. He had the Syrian, which is the northern part of this area, the Middle East, which you would call the Middle East today. And he went down to Egypt to spoil Egypt. So he wanted to have 2 lands, or all the land. Just what Esau do, it's nothing new. The Ptolemies was Esau also. So it's nothing new, he spoils his own. Reading down, it says, verse 20, it says, and after that Antiochus had smitten Egypt, and he returned again the 143rd year, and he went up against Israel and Jerusalem with great multitude. And he entered proudly into the sanctuary, and took away the golden altar, and the candlesticks of light, and all the vessels thereof, and the table of the showbread, and the pouring of vessels, and the vials, and the censers of gold, and the veil, and the crown, and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off. And they was all laden with gold. This was pure gold, as the Lord had commanded Moses. And this is what was in the temple, pure gold. He took also the silver and the gold and the precious vessels. Also he took the hidden treasures which he found. Basically, he spoiled the temple. Right? We know the story. Reading on, verse 25, and said, therefore there was a great mourning in Israel in every place where they were. Right? So that the princes and elders mourned, the virgins and young men were made feeble, and the beauty of women was changed. Every bridegroom took up lamentation, and she that sat in the marriage chamber was in heaviness. The land was also moved for the inhabitants thereof, and all the house of Jacob was covered with confusion. After it says, and after 2 years fully expired, the king sent chief collectors of tribute unto the cities of Judah, who came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude, and spake peaceable words unto them, like they always do, but all was deceit, like it always is. For when they had given them credence, he fell suddenly upon the city, and smote it very sore, and destroyed much people of Israel. And when he had taken the spoils of the city, verse 31, he set it on fire, and pulled down the houses and walls thereof on every side. Right? Black Wall Street. But the women and children took they captive, and possessed the cattle. They builded the city of David with a strong and great wall, and with mighty towers, and made it a stronghold for them. They put therein a sinful nation, wicked men, and fortified themselves therein. So when you look at this, again, the city of David, the temple, was all spoiled. So we'll jump to 36. It says, for it was the place to lie in wait against the sanctuary, an evil adversary to Israel. Thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary, and defiled it. Right? Insomuch the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them. And this is the point I want to get to, that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled. This is what you call the diaspora. It says, whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers, and became strange to those that were born in her, and her own children left her. Her own children left her. So where did these people go? Where did the Israelites go when the Greeks came in, when the armies of Antiochus came in? Well, there's a city called what you would call Qumran. Qumran, when you look at Qumran, is on the east bank, what you would call the east bank or the west bank of Jerusalem, and you can see right here Jerusalem, and it's in the west bank near the shores of the Galilee Sea, or the Sea of Galilee. Jerusalem will be in the middle, and you see these three dots. This is where the city of Qumran laid. And Qumran, if you know your history, because you have to do your diligent search, is where the Dead Sea Scrolls were located, or the caves, right, of Qumran. Salat. The caves of Qumran is where the Dead Sea Scrolls was found, in the jars and the tablets. Now, when the jars held, it held the Dead Sea Scrolls, what we know as the Dead Sea Scrolls today, right? They found this city where the Dead Sea Scrolls was found, and we know about in the potteries and in the cisterns that copies of the Bible were located, right? Copies of the Bible were located. So what is that telling you? Israelites were there. Okay, let's go back to well, I got this article. This article talked about the Dead Sea Scrolls. So let's get it real quick. It says the settlement and the community of Qumran, right? Qumran, it says the Dead Sea Scrolls shed light on the period between Alexander the Great conquest in Palestine, 332 BC, and the Great Revolt, which ended in 73, we know as the Roman Jewish Wars. In 70 AD, we fled. It says, however, in order to fully comprehend Qumran's sect, the reasons for its establishment, and its unique character, one must study Israelite and Hebrew Second Temple, the Hebrew Israelite Second Temple period, Salakia. It is essential to understand the political realities, eternal influences, and theology of the time. Since the Dead Sea Scrolls was found in 1947 to 1946, extensive excavations have been taking place in Qumran, and nearly 900 scrolls was discovered. So when you hear a person say, well, when was that Bible copyrighted, or when was that Bible printed? Well, you could say it was printed way back in 332 BC, found in 1947 in scrolls, on scrolls, Hebrew writings. Okay, let's get some scrolls real quick. Let's get this. We're going to look. We're going to look at some Dead Sea Scrolls and what they look like. The Dead Sea Scrolls was parchment papers, sometimes papyrus, right? Rolled up and kept. And you can see they were long sheets, right? They were long sheets with Hebrew writing on them. If it ever focused, but you know how it is. When you're ready to look at something, it never comes about. But as you can see, there was Hebrew writings, Greek writings, on these parchment papers found in the caves. So reading on, it says that some scholars have claimed that the caves were permanent libraries of the sect. Now, this sect of the city of Qumran was the sect of the Essenes. Essenes is Essenes. They were like the Sadducees, the Pharisees, and they were separate, and they most likely had a priesthood there with them because the scrolls was with them. They found scrolls of Isaiah. They found scrolls of Jeremiah, of Baruch, right? So we understand and know that the Bible was always with Israel, because the priest, the duty of the priest was always to keep the scrolls, always have the law, the Torah, right, written down, as well as the prophets written down for the people, so we could govern our people, always refer back to our instructions. It says here, many of the texts was found in the caves appear to represent widely accepted Israelite beliefs and practices, while other texts appear to speak of divergent, unique, and minority interpretations and practices, because it was of the times. Some scholars believe that some of the texts describe the beliefs of the inhabitants of Qumran, who may have been the Essenes, or the asylum for supporters of the traditional priestly family of the Zadokites, from the Zadoks, against the Hasmonean priests. The Hasmoneans, as you know, was started by Judas Maccabees and later his brother Simon Maccabees. However, over the years, the Roman Republic invaded Jerusalem and it became a city-state under Rome. The Romans exploited Jerusalem, right? We just talked about that, how Epiphanes exploited Jerusalem and the temple, and the Romans set up Hyrcanus, right? Hyrcanus and Aristobulus, who became pawns to the Rome, became pawns to Rome. This is why they set up gymnasium. They set up wicked men, right, as the Maccabees talk about, to go along with the Rome. They fell subject under them. It said that the dynasty survived over 103 years before yielding to the Herodian dynasty in 37 BC. The installation of Herod the Great, an Idumean, right, Esau, from the seed line of Esau, the installation of Herod the Great in 37 BC made Judea a Roman client state and marked the end of the Hasmonean dynasty. The Hasmonean dynasty was, like I said, began with the Maccabees, right, after the revolt, but it became wicked. It became wicked, right? So it says here that that even Herod the Great tried to bolster the legitimacy of his reign by marrying Hasmonean princess Mariam, and planned to drown the last male Hasmonean heir at his Jericho palace. In 6 CE, Rome joined Judea proper, Samaria, and Idumea into the Roman province of Judea. In 44 CE, Rome installed the rule of a Roman procurator side by side with the role of the Herodians, specifically King Agrippa. When you read back in the Acts, when Paul had to go up against Felix and King Agrippa, those was the Roman procurator, right? Felix was the Roman procurator, and you had King Agrippa, part of the Herodian dynasty, and they were side by side, both Idumeans, overseeing Jerusalem rule. Now, during all that time, people were Hellenized, and you understand that the Hellenization of the period, it was a philosophy pushed on the people, right? A philosophy pushed on the people, and some people just went up against it, like the city of Qumran, Qumran, right, where the Dead Sea Scrolls was found, Bibles, basically, written scrolls. So you just wanted to bring out this history of how, according to the scriptures, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, like 1 Maccabees 1:38, it said, insomuch that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them, because they defiled the temple. And you had priests that was always living outside of Jerusalem in the cities of Israel. And this is one place they went to resort, outside the city, you know. And this is where the Dead Sea Scrolls was found, Bibles, on parchment paper, right? Where you could read the law, the Torah, and the Tanakh. Okay, so don't allow anybody to tell you that these Bibles was made only in Cambridge in 1500s. No, we had Bibles always, because the Dead Sea Scrolls proved that they was written in the Dead Sea Scrolls was written in Hebrew, Aramaic, Greek, all different types of languages at that time, for the people, for the interpretation of the law and of the prophets, the law to govern our people. Okay? Just wanted to bring out that history. You know, there's more to it. You know, I could go, you know, further into it, you know, but, you know, I think I made my point. There was a lot of points where, you know, there was a lot of points where I can go into. You know, I just wanted to bring that out. I just want to bring up a couple other photos that I have, right? As you can see, how the parchment paper, right, of the scrolls, we know what they were, right? The scrolls, the Dead Sea Scrolls, fragments of the Dead Sea Scrolls, because paper, you know, deteriorated over years, right? And was always written long scrolls, rolled up. Salaki for the upside down. But let's get it this way. Yeah. Let's get it this way. How you can see, just doing this all on, you know, raw, uncut. How you can see the city of Qumran, which was founded, right, where the Dead Sea Scrolls was found, right? They had bathhouses, they had dining halls, they had running water, aqueducts, cisterns, right? That's a artist rendition of the same, right? You got the Dead Sea Scrolls, right? The parchment paper, the parchments, right? In Hebrew, in Greek, Old Koine Greek, right? Just the city as it is today. You know, and I just wrote this up real raw and uncut, and I read from my paper about the Hellenization and the settlement of the community of Qumran, where the Dead Sea Scrolls fit. Okay? Take a look at that. Right? So with that, you know, I say, call halal Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and shalom to the elect that's pushing out this word throughout the four corners of the globe. By Hashem, Ruach Kodash, and the Holy Spirit for the edification in the house of Dawadah. This your brother Shema Ma from the DC camp. Until next time, we say peace and shalom.